when we talked last class, we should have done the mindfulness exercise in the short little class that we had, correct? How does it work? What is it? Can you see that? I can see that. Your brain is full of these controlled processes. What is a controlled process? Quick. Thank you. What is a controlled process? Absolutely. Say it loud. The thing that you're paying attention to. Okay, so one of my favorite things is somebody walking across campus like this. When they're having a really deep conversation with someone or texting somebody, what happens to their walking pace? It slows down. Or, my favorite one is when you trip over stuff and looking at your phone. It's like the highlight of my day. If you are so inclined to be slightly assholic, I am wearing these slightly annoying shirts, so I will be, it's very annoying actually. My wife walked by me and goes, that's awful. And that's all I got from this morning. Okay. Oh, wait till you see the green and the orange one. This is the third of the three. Okay. But, okay, so if you see somebody walking on their phone, especially this morning I was walking behind someone who happened to be short, and they were FaceTiming a child. And the child was holding the phone here, so you were looking up the child's nose the entire time during this conversation with the child. I apologize if it was one of you, and I go, wow, what a cute kid's nose, as I walk by. And then the person laughed, but could that have also been not the best thing to do? No. Okay, so, but the other thing was that if someone's walking and texting or walking trying to read a book or trying to study, walk in front of them and slowly walk slower. Right? And then step to the side. And see if they continue walking slowly. And people around them will be walking fast, but they just gauge their speed. You notice this on the freeway when someone's texting and driving. People can text and drive on the freeway. It's not a good idea when there's a lot of other cars around because that's where most rear-ended accidents occur. Some person is not paying attention and they look up and the car in front of them is right there. And unless you have the automatic braking feature, you're screwed. It's an accordion. And by the way, automatic braking doesn't actually stop you from hitting the object. It stops you from crashing into the next object. And so it will violently apply the brakes, but you still run into the thing in front of you. Just to let you know, I could have stopped, but it's your fault. My daughter's car has the automatic braking on it. And my father-in-law goes, did you test it? No. I don't want to know really if it works or not. We hope that it works so she's safer driving, but anybody know how you test it? No? That's an expensive way to test things. Go to Michael's and buy a giant roll of butcher paper for about $6. Stretch it across 2 cones in a parking lot, and then drive at it. If your car has the automatic braking, it'll see the piece of paper and it'll stop. So we're going to try it with my father-in-law's new Subaru. He's going to be driving it, but we're going to see because it's supposed to have that collision detection, automatic braking, everything in it. So, and now it's a Corsa Sport, so it's uglier. It's got this orange stripe on it. Sorry, Grandpa, but ugh, awful. Okay, me saying wearing the bright, whatever color this is. Okay, so you have controlled processes. You pay attention to one thing at a time. The rest of your consciousness is automatic processes. This is cognitive psychology. Cognitive psychology is the study of these automatic and controlled processes. And so in cognitive psychology, we try to really focus on what can we actually pay attention to. And what is in the rest, what percentage of our world are we not paying attention to? Everything. How do you know when to shift your attention? How do you know when to pay attention? What grabs your attention? Okay, so did we talk about this last time? These are all words that mean the same thing. So this is the word cue. Okay, what's this word? Stimulus. Why is it have a little plus next to it? Because I like it. Not too positive. It's a reward, a reinforcing stimulus. Okay, so because it's a reinforcing stimulus, we put an S plus. I could also change the color and make it an S minus. Okay, what's an S minus? Don't say negative, it's punishment. It decreases, but so cues can be, automatic processes can be positive and negative. You can have things that tell you should do something or pay attention. They also have things that tell you, pay attention, clap! Oh, yeah. So, we use the word cues because they tell you what you should do. It's like if anybody's ever done theater in here. Okay, and when you have these stage cues, when so-and-so walks over here, that's your chance to start walking in. And my favorite is when you're distracted by something else and the cue happens and there's silence because you're supposed to walk in and you're on the side watching going, oh, and then you walk in. Or my favorite is the person on stage who has a good sense of humor goes to the audience, backs up, and walks back and says the line again and looks backstage. And the audience laughs and then you continue on. That's a more fun way to do it. Okay? Almost as if the stupid brain activity we tried to do and y'all just sit and looked at each other. What are we doing? Well, because if you haven't learned the cues, what happens? You don't know what to do. You have no idea how to choose the behavior. Okay? So what I'm going to try to do today is I'm going to memorize about half of your names. This class will start a little sooner so I can try to get everybody's name. But memory is it an automatic or controlled process? Your memory. So do you automatically remember stuff? What was the name of the music person I just played? Duh, you automatically remember stuff. I didn't even tell you to remember it, but why do you remember it? Yeah, most of you didn't listen to the Shoe Fly Pie song. They heard it and immediately checked it off to, ugh. But when you listen to some of the words of these old music, especially like some of the, this song. Oh, I can't play it because I'm recording. But she's a bad mamma jamma, just as fine as she can be. She's got every proportion in the right place. Basically, it's the same thing as the Rump Shaker song from 20 years later. But when you call someone a bad mamma jamma, do they get nearly as upset and say, man, you got a great ass? Same thing. When Nicki Minaj does the Mix-a-Lot song, does she change the meaning of Baby Got Back? What? Oh, no, I got kicked out of a karaoke bar for trying to sing that. That was not fun. Will you please leave? Why? This is entertaining. Just walk away. Okay, fine. They didn't like Strawberry Fields Forever either. Done as Captain Kirk. Okay, so let me take you down to Strawberry Fields. Okay, and they stop quick. Aw. And I don't drink that much. That's even weird. Okay, but so your memory. I'm going to memorize your names. Your memory is a series of cues. Memories are unconscious. If I go back into Weinert history, give me a year from Weinert history. Not too far long ago. I got back to, there's currently. Okay, give me a year. 2012, 2011, where are they? There's 2008, 2012. Hey! What was the name of our soccer team back in 2012? The Orangutans. Why were we the Orangutans? Road cone orange. Okay? Lucas, Lincoln, Dylan. There's my boy, Caleb. I know these people. Oh, this kid, Micah. Yeah. Who Caleb was. Okay, but, so when I look back at this, oh, swimming. First Halloween carnival. We get goldfish. Anybody go to the Alpine Elementary Halloween carnival as a kid? You guys remember that? Yeah, so you remember the soda ring toss? This is the brilliantest game ever. You get a bunch of shower rings from Home Depot for 30 cents. Every parent donates 4 or 5 2-liter bottles of soda. The kids fling rings onto the top of the bottle of soda, and what do you get? To keep the bottle of soda. So you have kids running around Alpine Elementary with either shaking them up or just drinking the entire giant bottle of Orange Crush that they just won from this game. And they're like levitating around the thing this entire evening. Okay, so where on earth my daughter was there with the ping pong into the cups and won the goldfish? Okay, how do I know that from this stupid picture? This is a cue. All these pictures, no matter how far back we go, every single picture, there's 2006. Aww. That's actually Graham. That's my nephew. Isn't he cute? Okay, but Graham, I mean, I don't even know where that came from. I imported a bunch of their pictures by accident. So I have a bunch of random pictures of their childhood. Like, there's Graham and his grandparents. No idea where that picture came from. Was I there when this picture was taken? Do I remember this event? No. But do I know what's going on? Yes. And are they in a hotel or a house? So how do I fill in the gaps of something I never knew anything about? Cues. I take the concept. That is so hotel-looking furniture. Yeah, I don't know why her cheek is glowing freakishly. That's really strange. Okay. I'm going to guess it's some sort of reflective... Oh, it's some sort of reflective fabric on his shirt. That's Grandpa. Okay? He is actually the dean of medical school admissions at some university back in Virginia somewhere. He's like super fancy, important dude. She is University of Missouri dean of obstetrics, other fancy person. Okay, we're not so much. We work at a community college, and my daughter dresses as Cinderella because she's awesome. Look at that hair. That's my daughter. Oh yeah, that poor kid. Oh. Okay. So moving on. Okay. So these. Whenever you have a cue, what does it bring back? Sort of. Yeah. Peg and nodes? Peg. Peg. Like you hang your hat on a peg?
Yeah.
Will you please just learn how to deal with what I dare to do? I don't want to change what I'm doing. I don't even know where an S came from. That was weird. Okay. So see, it's funny because I know what I'm supposed to be writing, so it looks exactly what I think it's supposed to be. Because it turns out that when I have one of these cues, I automatically get the sensory process again. I automatically feel what I saw the last time. That's the best part about these, like, I love having my photographs on my Google Drive. I just love that. We took almost our entire home hard drive and uploaded it onto Google Drive. So we have a hard drive, like a little notebook drive at home, that we automatically dump our photos into. We don't use our fancy camera very much anymore because why? My camera phone's just as good as our stupid Canon camera that we have. But everything that I take pictures of, we keep. So can I go find, I can find my daughter's birth on here if you're really interested. I didn't take the whole on hoo-ha-ha shot because I don't think we need to have that, but I do, I have with umbilical cord and goop all over her. I took a picture right after they pulled her out. Yeah, it's kind of gross, but someday on her wedding or something we'll show that. Look at what she turned from. Okay, so what parents do. I forgot her 16th birthday. I was supposed to roast her on her 16th birthday with all these old pictures of her being obnoxious as a kid, and I totally forgot. Oh well. Okay, so when you have this sensory experience, How long does a sensory experience last in your consciousness? How long does a memory of your sensory experience last? If that. If 5 seconds. It's usually about a third of a second to, ooh, that was kind of interesting. A third of a second to about 2 seconds. Now, there are some sensory experiences that last a lot longer. The class right before this class, my physio class, there's a chemical that you can take, you put in your mouth, and it's called Genea Celestra. It blocks the way sugar tastes. Okay, so if you put it in your mouth and you switch around my tongue, is my tongue still green? Okay. It's an herb that you spread over your tongue, and you can't taste sugar. I can still taste the chemical in my mouth now. So that sensory experience that I had an hour ago, I still get to enjoy it. It does not taste good. I need to brush my teeth, and maybe I ate one of these on the way up here. I can't taste that anymore. All I taste is that. The reason why you use this, and actually, I can also smell it. Do smells stick in your nose for a long time? Really long time. Especially if it's a really good stink, it can last for hours. You step in something, later you're like, I still smell it. Is it still on you? Maybe. No, but generally not. It's just that the sensory experience can last a long time. Why do you think smells and tastes form the longest memories? The cues last the longest. You look at something, if anybody here has ever had pecan pie, anybody, or pecan pie, depending where you're from, can you know what it tastes like? Can you picture what it tastes like in your head? And it's like the longer you think about it, you can actually activate the part of your brain where you tasted that flavor before. There's a little restaurant, De Leone's. Wait, orientation, that way. Anybody been to De Leone's? For a long time it was there. I don't know if it's still there now. My wife used to live on Falda del Cerro, across the street from De Leone's, pretty much. So we used to walk down there when we were dating on Thursdays and get eggplant parm because it was amazing. And then De Leone's sold to another place, and they were using canned tomato sauce, and it sucked horribly. If that was your family that bought it, I'm sorry. De Leone's heard that it sucked terribly and bought it back from the people they sold it to, and it was good again for a while. And that's the last I know. But, do you know more? Okay, so I'm hoping one of my students will be like the De Leone family, so we'll know what happened, really. But, are they still owning the restaurant? Yeah. Okay, good. Because when they sold it, it was horrible. Bad food. It wasn't bad food. It wasn't De Leone's. So when you go in, do you have a memory of what it should taste like when you go in there? Yeah, but when you taste it and it doesn't match the memory, like when Rubio, anybody notice this? Changed their salsa. And when Rubio's changed their salsa, there was like a huge revolt across the country of Rubio's salsa changing. And they went back to their old way of doing the salsa. Their hot salsa has some sort of sesame oil in it. And they stopped putting it in there, and people like panicked. Not because it tasted worse. It didn't match the expectation. That's what your sensory memory is for. Your sensory memory absorbs the world around you, and you can relive that sensory experience. So if you close your eyes, can you picture what shoe fly pie looks like? Close your eyes. Going back, we're going to do a visual walkthrough of the image of a shoe fly pie. Being mindfulness is a lot of annoyingness. Okay. How do you know what it looked like? I showed you for just a couple seconds on the screen. Does that image still exist in your occipital lobe? Yes, if you can picture what it looked, you weren't here, so you can't picture what it looks like. But everybody else that was here could picture it. So you could pick, what did you picture when I said shoe fly pie? A pie. Why would you choose Why would you choose just a normal pie? Because a pie is a pie is a pie. What's the big freaking difference of a shoe fly? It's just a pie. Does a shoe fly pie look like a pie? So if she said, oh yeah, I know what it looks like, she's pretty much 90% correct, because it's a freaking pie. What color is the filling? Dark brown or black? Yeah, molasses colored. Dark brown or black? What's on the top? crust or crumbs. Okay? And so as soon as you start filling in the more details, some people in here have a much more vivid visual memory. There's a guy named Kim Peek. He's the guy that Rain Man character from the Dustin Hoffman movie called Rain Man was based on. And Rain Man, he remembers everything he's ever read, 98% accuracy. Everything he's ever read, he can regurgitate it almost perfectly. The problem, he's profoundly autistic and can't function. So when he reads a book, is he actually reading it? No, he's memorizing the page. It's called photographic or eidetic memory. He literally remembers it as a picture. You can repicture, what was my daughter dressed as? What color was her lipstick? Black. That's the cool Cinderella, no. She was that pink, it was a pinkish reddish color. And if I ask you more details about it, what was the kid with the skin nose wearing? Yeah, so can you rebuild those pictures in your head? Some of you can rebuild pictures faster than other people in your head. Some people go, what kid? What are you talking about? Okay, but so if you are a visual learner, how should you store your cues? How should you hang your memories on? Visual things. Okay, I'm a very visual learner, and I have a big problem is I remember lots of useless things, but I forget important things. Okay, because I have a problem with my short-term memory. How long does your short-term memory last? How long does it last? As long as you pay attention to it. This is our body's RAM. This is your prefrontal cortex, your RAM. Random access memory. What happens if you're working on a Word document and you accidentally shut off the computer? Everything you have typed is gone. Why should you use Google Chrome? So that they can take over the world and steal your stuff. It's automatically saved not on your computer. A lot of badness would have to happen for you to lose your Google Doc. Like Armageddon kind of badness if you lose your Google Doc. Because in New Mexico, there's a giant storage facility where Google keeps its junk. In Seattle, there's a big storage facility where Google keeps its junk. And so you would have to have a massive earthquake in both places for you to lose your Google Doc. Are my photos safe in the cloud? Yeah. Can somebody else access them and post pictures of my kids? Probably. Do I care? No. There's a couple of them running around the house going naked, 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 which we probably don't want on the internet, but whatever. They're young. Okay, so the idea of this short-term memory lasts as long as your attention lasts. I have a problem with my attention because I keep shifting, I keep finding new cues and new nodes. And as soon as I find a new cue and a new node, what happens to my sensory experience? It changes. And as soon as my sensory experience changes, my memory changes. And as soon as my memory changes, my train of thought disappears completely. Welcome to attention deficit disorder. Luckily, I'm not hyperactive. I'm just active. Okay, moving on. So, when we look at this short-term memory, how many chunks of information can you hold in your attention at one time? 7. 7. Who came up with 7? I don't know. But I'm going to write 5 to 9. 7. But why 5 to 9? It's right in between 5 to 9. I'm going to write 7 is clinically the one that most people can do. Most people can hold 7 things. That's why telephone digits are 7 digits. You don't have to really think of 6, 1, 9, 5, 3, 7, 6, 3, 0, 3. You don't have to remember each number. What do you remember? 3 chunks, which is 3 bits of information. So if I try to remember each one of your names, which I'm going to do, if I have to remember everybody's name, you are 1 out of 252 students this semester for me. It's a lot of you, okay? But why is it important for me to know who you are by name? Here. Okay. No, I really do actually care about whether you are successful or not. Okay? Oh, that's done. Okay, and so I do care if you're here or not here. And I because that's why I do this job. If I didn't care, I wouldn't enjoy doing my job. But at the same time is that I'm not going to, you're in college, I'm not going to bug you if you're here or not. I'm not going to bug you if you miss a class. Okay, if you call me, if you email me and say, hey, I'm sick, like when Sam emailed sick, my brain did not have a Sam for Sam. So I had a student saying I'm sick and I'm gone, but I didn't know his name attached to that over there. So what was it to me when he said I'm sick? Student will be gone. 1 out of 250 is gone. And so that, to me, that's the part that why I really have to get to know students' names. Well, I will make lots of mistakes because there are lots of you. Do not think that I make a mistake because I don't care. It's because there's lots of you. I've been doing this for the last 3 or 4 semesters, and if you're one of the people that don't ever say anything in class, and I don't rehearse your names, what happens to the long-term storage? Sarah, what's her last name? Ari, A-R-I-I, however you pronounce that. She was in my class in 2012, 2013, somewhere in there. She sent me an email 2 years ago saying, I'm finishing my master's thesis. I have no idea what I'm doing in statistics. I was in your statistics class. My brain goes, I don't remember this person. So she came in, I'm looking at her. I don't remember this person being in my class. I helped her with her master's, her data for her master's thesis. We used it as a thing for my stats course, and the stats students figured it out. It was really cool. And then disappeared. This semester, she shows up in my online class. She sends me an email about a week into the class saying, I just found out it's past the drop, or 2 weeks into the class, it's past the drop date. I haven't done any work in the class. I really need to drop this class without a W. So I said, file a petition, I can help you do that. She filed a petition and she got the class dropped without a W because she never really needed to take it, and she didn't show up. Okay. Day later, she goes, do you remember me? And as soon as she said that, I'm like, holy crap. I said, you're the one who did the CDC data. Even though she had been in my class, it's an online class, so not literally sitting in class, but the name did not sound familiar at all. Because what do I try to remember students by? The way that they are, not necessarily their face, their whole self. Because the characteristics that you have, because all the characteristics that make you you are the cues that define you. Sorry, that's the stuff. Okay, but is your name an important part of these cues? So I have a student, Zahra. I'm working on it. I can almost make that sound. I think one more day of not being sick, I can say it properly. It's just a little clog back there. For her, why for me learning how to pronounce her name is important? It's a sign of respect, not just trying to Americanize her name. Zahra. Slightly offensive. If a student is Josue, do I call him Josh? Unless he prefers to be called Josh, like Josh next door. His name's Josue, but he prefers Josh. So I call him Josh, because that's how he prefers to be called, and I respect the fact that when he first was hired, my brain could not say that, but now I know him well, I say the right name. Okay, so Allison's easy because those classes. Jeez. Yay. No, she's in 2 of my classes. And we emailed back and forth about getting into the second class, so I had Allison face, Allison face, Allison face. Repetitive. One of the easiest ways to develop cues is called rehearsal. The more you rehearse something, okay. But that doesn't last long. What if you stop rehearsing it? It fades away. So long-term memory, the biggest problem with long-term memory is this stupid word. That's not it. Okay, I spelled that wrong. Give me a minute. I'm glad I'm recording this. It's called interference. Okay. I-N-T-E-R-F-E-R-E-N-T. Interference. How would you spell? That's an R right there. That's an E and an R put together. Come on, you people. No, it's my own property. That's what I deny my own property and embrace it. Okay. Interference. Well, okay, so if I write too messy, how come you can't read what it says? Or if I use this color. What's wrong with that color in this classroom? There's not enough contrast. It's really hard if I write small with this color. You can't see it very well because it doesn't show up well. That's why I use white and yellow on a black background. It shows up well. There's less interference. So if you think about it, if I have 250 students, is there a lot of interference? Sorry. Is there a lot of interference with trying to remember each individual person? Yes. Okay. So I have this little cheat sheet right here. This little cheat sheet. I'm not going to write much down on it, but I am going to write some pegs on it. So what's the easiest peg to remember? The first letter of their name, or like I have, my brain remembers Michelin, but his name is Michelet. Why do I write Michelin down? That's actually what her name looks like when you write it down. There's no N on it, but it's close enough. And so by putting it close enough, the sensory experience is close enough, I can remember it. A student in my morning class sits over there, his name's Hussein. So what did I say immediately when he said Hussein? Sit down. Actually, I said Papa. Papa's not. Anyway, but so as soon as I say Papa, my brain laughs. Why is that funny? Somebody knows why that's funny. A lot of people called Saddam Hussein Papa Hussein. Nah. Okay. I learned that little tidbit of cultural reference, and so I made the joke. He laughed the same way you laugh. Okay? But as soon as you laugh, what does it do to the amount of sensory experience involved with that particular name? By increasing the sensory experience, I increase the cues, I reduce the amount of interference. Like Tashiana, one of my students. I try to think of Tashiana. What sounds like Tashiana? And my damn brain goes, Tushy. And as soon as I said that, I'm like, oh, crap. But I saw her earlier this semester. Tashiana, what's up? She goes, you remember my name? And my brain's going like... But it's so, sometimes, is it offensive? Sometimes. The more crude, the more offensive, the more vulgar it is, the more cues it stimulates, and especially if I do something and get embarrassed, I remember it so well. Okay, so, first thing. Leonardo. Way too tall to be a DiCaprio. But the Daria, I could go Da Vinci on you, but I don't know how weird you are. But I guess DiCaprio's pretty weird too. Okay, turtle! Okay, sorry. So what's a problem with saying 6 cues for one person? Use the word interference. Okay, so it's got to be very simple. I'm going to go Da Vinci because of the cross. Okay, why the cross? Catholic Europe, where he was busy doing business. Okay, perfect. Still don't remember. I had it last semester, but it's gone now. Karsten. No, well, actually, Keith Carson is my son's basketball coach. Is that who I put on your name last time? Karsten. Karsten. Okay. I'm going to write Karsten with a K. So because I wrote Karsten with a K, I'll remember Keith. And his Keith's last name is Carson. Okay. Brianna. Okay, I didn't put stinky cheese on you. Okay. So, this is a little dangerous, but I have a student I know pretty well in my morning class named Anna, and she sits right there. So why can't I put Brianna and her in the same queue, in the same note? They are very similar people. Anna in Psych Club. Yeah. They're actually named Anne. No, Anne from Psych Club. You know her. She was the one that was really badly driving. There you go. Yeah. And into the lake. And in the river. And then, yeah. So, but again, so by having the story, this is the key for long-term memory. That is what we call declarative memory. So as opposed to saying, oh, you remember that student who crashed and everything else, I can just say, Anne's driving today. And immediately the person goes, ooh. We need subjects, by the way. We have a pretty good paradigm set up. And so if you want to come in and drive the Xbox and do a little survey, I'm going to be there all day tomorrow, from about 9 o'clock until probably about 1:30 or so. And then, so if you want to come in anytime tomorrow and drive the video game and fill out a survey, we need subjects to do it. We've got a good paradigm set up. We've got good protocol set up. And so we're ready to start running subjects to find out if we have any data or not. So if you want to do it, stop by. Okay. I won't bring snacks, but I'll say I have snacks. Oh, I do have snacks. I have those little care package boxes in my office. Take whatever you want. Okay. So declarative memory. Declarative memory is a story. If you have a story for Brianna, what happens? Her cue becomes a sequence in the story. Because a lot of declarative memory is episodic. Time. Okay, so after Brianna and summer. Yay! I love summer. I have autumn in my other class. I don't like fall. She's in the back. Okay, so that's good. Summer is great. Summer is really, I forgot to put the A there, and summer. Okay, cool. Norma. Oh, I have a Norma in my other class. She sits right there. What's the deal with Norma sitting up here? What's a way to remember Norma, though? Normal? Not normal? Abnormal Norma? Okay. Yes, that's called dad humor. And it makes me happy because I'm a dad and I think it's just funny. I just call them jokes. Okay. But again, it has nothing to do with you as a self. It's just a cue to try to remember your name. The best part is, as I'm doing this, what are you all doing? You're memorizing the names as well. You're not even trying. Why are you able to memorize stuff faster than I am? You have less names to remember. You have less interference. It's very easy for me to learn psych stuff. I have a million different associations with almost every stupid theory that we write up here. So for me, it's super easy to learn this stuff. Fine. And that's why, like in statistics, a lot of my students are like, come on, it's easy. And they're like, and so, but the reason why I think it's easy is because I've been doing it for 30 years. It is easy. So once you've been doing it for 30 years, it's easy. Yeah, and anything's better in practice. And actually, that's a different type of memory called procedural. So the procedural memory is how you learn how to do things. Repetition works best for procedural memory. Okay, so what's your name? Forget. Caroline. Okay. Sweet Caroline. Ba, ba, ba. Okay, yeah. So I didn't know I knew that song. Okay, so But knowing that song, that's kind of a procedural memory. Okay, that's semantic memory, that's next. Okay, so the procedural memory is when you learn, like for example, Caroline needs to put on a saddle on a horse. You know what to start at, where to start. So immediately, she can immediately start putting on it. But in order to remember that, what did you actually do in your head? Think about it. Think about how do you remember something when you describe how to do something? What do you do in your head? Or you picture it. Or you actually go, oh, saddle pad. You turn over here to get the saddle pad. I had one of my students who was blind. Her name was Miriam. She can't see. She sees a little bit of light left in. If I shine light in her eyes, she can see it. But she was born. Her mom took a drug like a week or two before she was born, and it caused scar tissue over her lenses. And so she's blind. She can't see. So it's funny. But if I had her take her glasses off, and her eyes look really weird, so she's very self-conscious about it. But she took her glasses off, and I go, okay, sit at the kitchen table and tell me where the stove is. Her eyes look to the right. Why do her eyes look to the right? She's re-imaging the kitchen in her head. Imaging. She can't see. But she knows where her environment is. So I say, okay, so where's your fridge? Don't say anything. And her eyes look this way. I say, the fridge is to the left of where you typically sit. She goes, how do you know? I go, you look that way. Look. So I emailed Dorian. I haven't checked my email back. Dorian is deaf. So when he thinks, what language does he think in? No, because sign language is a communication of your thoughts. When you form it in sign language, when you form an idea, then you communicate it out. If you speak more than one language, you think in more than one language. So what language are you thinking right now? Are you sure? Okay. Sorry. So I haven't got an email back from him yet. So I don't know if that was offensive or not, but I don't care. I've known Dorian a long time. I can ask him these questions. Okay. So after Caroline is Ethan. Only Ethan I can remember actually was called Skinny Guy, so you've got that covered. But, are you a mathy type? Okay, good. Ethan was a mathy type. So, Ethan's going to be a hard one, because I don't have anything funny or ridiculous for Ethan. All I have is Ethan. I'll have to come back. Okay. So Ethan, Caroline, see Norma works. I said I have Norma in my head. Summer and something Anne. Wait, don't say it, Brianne. Oh, Brianne. I gotta put stinky cheese on Anne. Hold on. Why am I not looking at my card when I'm going through and looking at Karsten's name? I had to go through the whole process. Say it louder? You said something. I don't want to cheat. Or you just said it at the same time. Sorry. Okay. And wait. Oh, Da Vinci. It works. Leonardo. Because the cross. I look at his face, nothing. Cross, check. Okay, and Allison. Okay. Xavier. Oh, I like X's. I don't have a good Xavier except X. Nah. So, you have a twin brother. Or I was seeing double the other day. Okay? So, if I see you or your twin brother, why will I say, hey, Xavier? I don't know his other brother. I had a friend, Mike, in college, in graduate school. I had no idea he had a twin brother, John. No idea. So I saw him walk by. I'm like, hey, what's happening? He goes, hey, what are you doing? And he knew that I didn't know him, but he assumed that I was talking to his twin brother. And so they used to do that stuff all the time to people. Are you identical? No. So, you look similar. Yeah. Okay, so Xavier. Trying to think of where Xavier comes from. Okay, I'm going to have to try to stick that. So, Ethan or Ian? Ethan, okay. Ian is popping into my head, so it's going to be scary. Okay. Eli. Very biblical name, sir. It's like number 4? Yeah. It's like like one of the first few. Caleb's brothers? I don't remember. I'm not too... Okay, sorry. Eli to me is like old guy with really big forearms. You're not. Yeah. Eli is from a book. It's an old carpenter whose wife dies and his mom. That's it. Eli. I got it. The mom's a widower and she starts hanging out with Eli and the kid learns how to whittle. So Christmas book. And at the end she brushes the wood chips out of his beard and they fall in love. Oh. Okay, got it. Long. Okay, Lego. What? Diego Lego? Okay. Why do I say Lego immediately? Lego my ego. Yeah, no, it's Diego. It's all rhymes. But because of his Lego-ness, and he and I speak Lego, it's easier to remember Diego. Does that have anything to do with Diego? Oh, the O at the end. It creates a cue that's close enough that I can remember that. It's probably easier to go San Diego, but go. I never watched that. I was a Dora fan. Diego, to me, was kind of a bastard sequel of Dora. I didn't like it. Okay. I love recording this stuff. It's awesome. Okay. Elise. Okay. So, yeah, we were. It was funny because we were talking. You weren't there. You weren't there yesterday, were you? Oh, you were there. Okay. So yesterday we had on our site club. We had one of my friends who's a really good, awesome therapist come in and talk. She was amazing, and she's going to come back and try to talk with us again when we get more people there. And so when you say Elise, the only Elise that I remember is anybody know Elise Napier? She's a little bit older than you all now. She was in my wife's class when she first started teaching kindergarten. She's an Alpine kid. Anyway, so that's how Elise in my head. You don't look anything like her. She's about 6 foot and blonde. You're not. Okay, but that's how I'm going to remember Elise. Okay. Alexis. I could go creepy or solid. Alexis. A purple Alexis. This week. It was awesome when the person behind you's shirt was the same color. Okay. I'm going to write a little note by Elise so I can remember if she's tall or not. Okay. Okay, I can remember Alexis, a purple Alexis. That makes sense. Okay. Kayla. So, I went Kayla is a kid on my daughter's volleyball team for a couple years. We had Kayla, Kylie, and Kate, the other one, the libero, which is another Kayla of some sort, with different enunciation on different syllables. Okay, I can remember Kayla. She was an outside. You got to do an outside hitter. Never mind. Okay. Sammy? Okay, good. That's Sammy and Sam. I can do that. What's samurai for some reason? Samurai? Yeah, what happens as I start getting fatigued here? Why is it harder to come up with more and more names if you're trying to remember lots and lots of things? Why is it hard? Like if you have a giant study guide some asshole teacher gave you. What do you have to do? Yeah, you get what's called cue overload. My poor physio class has cue overload. The physio class, they have to remember lots and lots of stuff. And so as a result, like their first exam, they had their first like bubble test also next week. It's got 91 questions on it. That's way too much information for them to do. So what's a way to reduce, as a faculty, to reduce the cue overload? 2 choices. It's not true, false. Those are really hard. 2 choices. So if I give it, true, false is hard because you have to read every word carefully to see if any of them trigger a cue that they're false. So A, you have to know what it is first, then you have to identify whether it's false or not. Oh, that's so hard. So if I make the answer, so if I ask you, which one of these designates a reinforcing stimuli? And then I have S plus or node. S plus, you can recognize, recall, you can recognize, recognition, not recall. You can recognize something very quickly. If I present a picture to you, I can ask you, have you seen this before? Your sensory experience immediately tells you yes or no if you have seen that before. Okay? So it's Sammy, Kayla, that works totally well. Okay, Kyla was the other one. Kylie. Sorry. Why did that get all of a sudden bubbled out once I said her name? Anybody ever had trying to remember something, you can't remember it, and then you stop thinking about it and it comes back? That's because of cue overload. If you're trying to overstimulate a particular cue, you can't access the data from that cue or from that node. We use the word node as a graphic representation of a memory, which we'll draw here in just a few minutes for you. Okay, that's Alexis. It's easy to remember. Okay, Elise, perfect. All blonde person. Diego. Oh, Eli. Ha! I did the beard scrubbing in my head. Xavier and Allison and Leonardo and Karsten and Brianna and then Summer and Norma and oh, wait for it. It's just wait, hold on. I'll get there. Yeah, Caroline. Thank you. That's all she needs to do. Okay, and then Ethan. Okay, so am I really putting a lot of effort into memorizing your names? No. But what is the, where is the effort being put in? Well, I just spent 15 minutes doing that, and I've got just a little bit under half of the class. Okay, and it is 15 minutes of your day that you're not getting back, and I'm sorry. But it's actually really important, especially for when you send me an email and I know who you are. But how can you use this to study for a test? So why write the names down, just little tiny scribbles on a card? I've got little scribbles on a card from my morning class, and my other class actually wrote it up on this thing after the class left, so I could cheat. What is this? Cheat sheet. I mean, actually, if I wrote a cheat sheet like this for my test, am I actually cheating? No, what's the best cheat sheet you can use for chemistry? Formulas. If you write down those formulas on a piece of paper, write those damn formulas on a piece of paper, and then write all the different ways you use those formulas next to it on the piece of paper. Do that 5 times before you take the chemistry test. My daughter refused to do this. That's stupid, that's stupid, that's stupid. She got to a question that she didn't know how to rearrange the formula to answer. But if you have people there to help you rearrange the formulas, write them all on a piece of paper. Because you can close your eyes and do what? Visualize it. Write them on different freaking colors. Each formula on a different color. Write them with different color pens. If I asked my intro class in the morning, when Dana wrote the mindfulness on the board, what color did she write it in? Everybody goes, rainbow font. Without any sort of consciousness, do you automatically remember everything? Yes. You automatically remember everything. Your long-term memory is infinite in storage. You don't forget things. But what happens? Has anybody ever gotten a new phone number? It doesn't happen so much anymore because you get to take your phone numbers with you now. Thank you, government. When we was in college, every semester or every year, we'd live in a new place. Because usually in the summertime, we'd abandon our place and go home and then have to move into someplace new the next semester. And every time we moved to a new place, what did we get? A new phone number. I remember one phone number I had is 466-4645. It's awesome because of beep, 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 beep. Oh, yeah. And so I can remember I can remember my cell phone number because when we first started with cell phones, I've had the same cell phone number since 96, 97, 96, somewhere there. They were big, ugly phones back then. They looked like cordless phones if you walked around with your house. But I had them. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I've had the same phone number forever with my cell phone, but every house that we lived in has had a different phone number. 588-4525. That's my wife's phone number from when she lived in Falda del Cerro. So why do I still remember those? Are they useful? Because you actually used to have to dial them. Very rare people had speed dials on their phones back then. So the more times you rehearse something, the easier and easier it gets. It's like every time you guys kick soccer balls, do you learn how to kick soccer balls again? Every time you redo it, you learn how to do it again. Every time you practice something, you learn it faster. Yeah, every time you do, you learn it faster. So do you know how to kick a soccer ball right now? Well, wait, but how do you kick a soccer ball? Okay, that's actually not true. I've seen lots of soccer players use most of their body except their hands to direct a soccer ball in a particular direction. You just think, I need the ball to go over there. And somehow some bizarre ninja action comes out of the rest of your body and the ball goes to where you wanted it to go to begin with. You don't actually know how to do it. Your body knows how to do it. What is your knowledge? Think about this. What position do you play? Ooh, you guys compete this thing? Okay, team one, I guess. Okay, so center mid's a great position because you have to kick either A, run back to defense, basically run. Okay, but your job is to get the ball to the wings to let the people run up with it. How do you know where to put it? So you have to take in all these cues from the rest of the things. You have to pay attention to what happened in the first part of the game because they might have some super crazy ninja stud on the other team that you keep the ball away from. And so that comes into a play. You also have to trust the people on the wings. Uh-oh, she's playing the wing. I'm going to pass it to the right this time. And the person on the wing's like, oh, because every time you pass it to them, they shank it out of bounds anyway, so you're not passing it to them anymore. All of a sudden, all these little variables come into play, and all those cues tell you what you should do. We call it being smart, or intelligence, is paying attention to all those cues. My daughter is not the best volleyball player at all. Coach calls her baby giraffe. Okay? But she showed the highest hitting percentage against La Jolla High when we got beat by them. But she hit over 500, which means that she scored most of the time she hit the ball. And she also played extremely well against Cathedral City, who has like a couple of these women that are just going to Division I out of their sophomore year of high school. They're just amazing athletes. And my daughter hit extremely well because she's not a great athlete, but she's very, quote, volleyball smart. She's been playing volleyball since she's in 3rd grade. So how does she know where to hit the ball? She pays attention for cues and looks for openings. She'll go up the swing and go, you have a little called a roll shot. People hate them, where you go, ink, and just hit it over the back of the top of the blockers and it falls on the ground. It's more fun when you go, raw! But it's worse when you go, boink, and everybody goes, yoo, and it falls on the ground in front of you. Okay. Sorry, irritating. I hate it when the setter does that. Okay. But the idea of this is that if you know a lot of cues, your procedural memory activates based on those cues. That's what makes someone who's a good soccer player or a good any sport athlete, is that they immediately pay attention to the cues and adjust their behavior, not even conscious of it. They're paying attention to what's going on in the game, not paying attention to all the cues. So there's one other kind of declarative information. Now, this is the story. Story is declarative. There's episodic and semantic. If you go home and remember class today, If you go home and remember class today, you can remember that I was wearing this annoying shirt. You can remember that I was playing old dad. You can remember that I showed a picture of my kids when they were little. That's the episodic memory. But if I ask you to define what episodic memory is, that is the semantic part of the memory. This is the details. That's the details of the memory. Where do the details come from? Well, where do the specifics of your memories come from? Okay, Audrey? Well, the story gives the context for the details. Where do the details actually come from? Okay, close your eyes. Let's go for this. Okay, I want you to think of kindergarten. I want you to think of kindergarten. What's the first thing that pops into your head if you think about what kindergarten was? How do you find that memory? Okay, immediately you said recess. What do you remember specifically about recess? But, okay, be more specific. I want details. Okay, what does a playground look like? The first thing that came to our consciousness was a slide. Oh, ooh, yeah. That was, yeah, firehouse pole on the slide. They took all those away because kids kept breaking collarbones, but whatever. Anybody remember the surface of the playground, what it looked like? Yeah, wood chips and stuff. We had good old-fashioned dirt and concrete when we were kids, but that's because kids didn't break as much, I guess, when we fell off of stuff. Yeah, slide was metal. You're wearing shorts down there. It's San Diego and you have a metal slide. Who does that? Yeah, it's like, anybody remember the static electricity on the tube slides? Yeah, your hair's like, oof. I had lots of videos of my son coming down the tube slides where he'd go down and he'd hold his knuckle out and we'd zap each other. And he'd run up and slide down and we'd zap each other. And then I'd sit down and pretend not to see him and he'd zap my ear. And it's just good times. I love that. My daughter didn't like being zapped. Ow! My son's like, oh, yeah! And then goes do it again. But, so, the idea of these, so where do those semantic details actually come from? Once I give you the cue, kindergarten, what do you actually do? You and I are way older than most of them. Sorry, point that out. Okay? But because, even though we're older than most of you, can we remember kindergarten just as well as most of you? Yeah, because once those memories are in there, all you need is the right cues to bring them out. This is also, semantics are the details. For me, because of what I do for a living, I'm very good at semantic details. My TA, Anna, comes into my office, and she goes, okay, Weiner, what do you need me to do? I'm like, okay. I said, I printed some articles, and I need you to annotate them, which means summarize them so we can write a paper based on them. And she goes, got it. She goes, where are they? And so I stand there, and I go, I'm standing at my desk, and I go, wait. I walk over, and I move like 3 piles of things, and put it down, and I dig under, and I hand them to her. And how do I know where they are? Well, I took them out of my printer and laid them out so that I could give them to Anna at some point. But then, because of the way I do things, I just keep stacking more and more stuff on top of it. But then I go, one of them uses exactly the same paradigm that we're using now, and I describe the details of the article to her. She goes, where is it? I don't know where it is, but that's what the article says. And then about an hour later, she's reading through the article. She goes, this one. I look at it, and then she turns the page, there's a picture, I'm like, that one. That's the article. We actually found a research article that's very similar to our experiment. And so now that we actually have a good official protocol from that experiment, we can run our experiment and use their protocol, and we're set. All we have to do is ask permission to not hurt anybody, but we haven't done that yet. We're just going to run subjects anyway. So, not that I would ever do that, recording. Okay, now, again, so what are your names? So Xavier, Allison, Leonardo, Karsten, Brianna, let's take a second, and Summer, and Norma, and Caroline. Thank you, the song really does help. And Ethan. right? That's still Ian saying in my head. Ethan and Sammy and not Kyla. Kyla? Oh, I got the third, not Kylie, so Kyla. Kayla. Dang it! I gotta think outside. Outside theater. Okay. Purple Lexus, Elise, Diego, and Eli. Okay. So I also have Audrey. Right? Aubrey. No. Audrey, right? Yeah. Why'd you say no? No, because I remember you from before. And like Sam, I got 2 for free. Sorry, mispointed. Sorry. You're not Sam. What are you doing? What did you do with Sam? Yeah, that's it. Okay.